The Winchester Mystery House, a popular tourist attraction and mansion located in San Jose, California, along the South Winchester Boulevard. It once stood as the home of Sarah Winchester, the widow of William Wirt Winchester and heiress to the Winchester Rifle fortune. Work began on the house under Sarah's direct supervision in 1884 and continued until her death in 1922. Because work on the home was constantly ongoing, the result is a chaotic building with no master floor plan and a numerous amount of eccentric touches. This includes stairways that lead to nowhere and doors that ultimately open up to nothing at all. Sarah's life was interrupted by two tragedies from which she never really recovered. The first was the loss of her daughter, Annie Pardee Winchester, who succumbed to the disease marasmus only a few weeks into her life. The second was the death of her husband William to tuberculosis, only 15 years later. After her husband's death in 1881, Sarah Winchester inherited more than $20.5 million, equivalent to about $520 million in today's standards. She also received nearly 50% ownership of the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, giving her a total income of roughly $1,000 per day. That equals out to about $25,000 today. These inheritance gave her a tremendous amount of wealth, which she would then use to fund the ongoing construction of the Winchester Mystery House. According to most popular retellings, following her husband's death, Sarah feared that she and the Winchester family were cursed. She consulted a psychic either in Boston or near her home in New Hampshire, Connecticut, who told her to move west and build a home for herself that would also house the spirits of those who had been killed with the Winchester Rifles. The medium had allegedly also told Sarah that if construction on the house were to ever stop, the spirits would grow reckless and kill her. Thus, for 38 years, Sarah lived within the home and ensured that construction continued constantly, even attempting to have work done on the house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She also integrated the number 13 into the home whenever possible. There are a total of 13 bathrooms. Each window has 13 panels. The house has a total of 13 chandeliers and so forth. Following the 1906 earthquake, Sarah refused to have damaged portions of the home fixed up, assuming that damage had been the work of the angry spirits who might be further enraged with repairs. Upon completion, the mansion has roughly 161 rooms, including 40 bedrooms, 2 ballrooms, one being complete and the other not finished, as well as 47 fireplaces, over 10,000 panels of glass, 17 chimneys, and 2 basements with 3 elevators. Even as recent as 2016, it was announced that another room had been discovered, an attic space that contained a pump organ, Victorian couch, dress forms, sewing machine, and many paintings. All this would eventually become viewable to the public if you were to take a tour. Ghostly sightings are quite common in the Winchester Mystery House, in addition to the spirits of those killed by the Winchester Rifles, whom Sarah believed had taken up residence in the home. Some of Sarah's loyal workmen and house servants may also still be looking after the place. According to sightings of figures or the, quote, feeling of a presence reported many times over the years by both tour guides and visitors alike. One frequent apparition is the man with jet black hair, believed to be a former handyman. He's been seen repairing the fireplace in the ballroom or pushing a spectral wheelbarrow down the dark hallway. Still others report seeing a woman fitting Sarah Winchester's description, Victorian-era garbs, wandering the stairs and hanging out near the kitchen. Several years ago, a man working on one of the restoration projects in the mansion started his day early in a section with several fireplaces, known as the Hall of Fire. The house was dead quiet before tours got underway, and he was working up on a ladder when he felt someone tap him on the back. When the man turned to ask what the person wanted, to his surprise, there was no one there. Reassuring himself that he was just imagining the sensation, he went back to work, only to experience what felt like someone pushing against his back. With this, the man had had enough, and he hurried down the ladder, crossing the estate, and started on another project, figuring that someone, or something, didn't exactly want him working in the Hall of Fire. Another story from the location comes from a tour guide named Samantha, who had recently led visitors into the Daisy bedroom, where Sarah Winchester was trapped during the 1906 earthquake. Samantha was about to begin her speech about the room itself when a very clear sigh came from the small hallway outside the bedroom door. Thinking one of her guests had merely fallen behind, Samantha turned to call the person into the room, but discovered no one. Then, as her eyes adjusted to the darkened hallway, she did see something. The form of a small, dark person slowly emerged, gliding across a corner. Samantha quickly stepped around the corner and saw nothing, but heard another deep sigh. She felt sure that it was the tiny form of Sarah Winchester herself, perhaps peeved to find people in her favorite bedroom. Sarah Winchester had made no mention of the house in her will, and it was eventually sold for $135,000 to a local investor, who would eventually open it up to the public. It was Harry Houdini himself during a tour of the mansion that had actually named it the Mystery House. Today, the 160-plus room Winchester Mystery House has become a popular tourist attraction in San Jose. It even hosts special little events every year on Friday the 13th. The location itself is obviously an extremely spooky one, the house being very jarring to the sights, with many mysterious twists and turns through its long hallways and seemingly endless staircases. And the spirits, if they are in fact there, do not seem to be shy at all. So if you ever find yourself touring the Winchester Mystery House, make sure to be listening well and have your camera ready, because you never know. You might catch a glimpse of an ethereal figure in the distance, perhaps Sarah Winchester herself. If you enjoyed this video today, be sure to hit that like button to keep content like this flowing on the channel. Also consider checking out our Patreon and social media in order to support the channel and to stay up to date on new topics, polls, and news. And don't forget to subscribe. We talk about all things paranormal, supernatural, and mysterious on the channel and would love for you to join us. Hope you had an amazing day, and remember, stay spooky.